Something looked completely broken inside the Indiana Fever last night, and honestly, Caitlin Clark fans are starting to panic because this no longer feels like just one bad loss. Now fans are asking if Indiana still has absolutely no idea how to build around Caitlin Clark.
Can anybody actually sit down and explain to me what the offensive identity of this team is, other than Stephanie White has no clue? Other than Kelsey Mitchell, iso ball, Caitlin Clark, we're not going to utilize you as a pick and roll, you're going to be a decoy. Sophie Cunningham, not really used either. Aaliyah Boston, we're going to give it to you. And it's freestyle basketball. But worse than that, it's trash freestyle basketball.
And trust me, once Sophie Cunningham basically disappeared offensively too, things became very uncomfortable for Stephanie White. So before this gets even crazier, comment below right now. Do you think the Fever are actually building around Caitlin Clark correctly? Or does this offense still feel completely lost? Because honestly, the deeper this game went, the more emotional the reactions became online. The Fever lost 107-104 to Dallas. But honestly, that score hides how chaotic this game actually felt. Because for most of the night, Indiana never truly looked in control. Every run felt temporary. Every possession felt difficult. Every momentum swing disappeared almost instantly. And the craziest part? This roster has way too much talent for that. That's why fans instantly started panicking online. Because people expected this season to feel different, more organized, more connected, more dangerous around Caitlin Clark. Instead, fans watched the same frustrating patterns return immediately. Too much isolation, too much standing around, too little movement around Clark. And honestly, the deeper this game went, the louder the frustration became online. Because fans started asking, what exactly is Indiana trying to be offensively? And trust me, once Sophie Cunningham only ended up with barely any offensive involvement, the reactions became brutal. Because Fever fans already emotionally see Sophie as one of the perfect players to unlock Caitlin Clark. Aggressive, fearless, floor spacer, emotional spark. The type of player who should make Clark's life easier every possession. But against Dallas, it felt like Indiana barely knew how to use that chemistry at all. And honestly, this is where the panic really started. Because fans don't think Indiana lacks talent anymore. They think Indiana lacks identity. That's the scary part. And once Clark started looking physically uncomfortable too, everything exploded.
Caitlin Clark seems to be injured, banged up, dinged up. I'm not sure. She was in the locker room, she came out of the locker room. She got worked on coming into the third quarter, she stopped getting worked on. She put on her back brace, she didn't put on her back brace. Holly Rowe just said the Fever training staff appeared to be doing something with CeCe's groin in the tunnel, but couldn't confirm that. Caitlin is now back on the bench with a heating pad around her lower back. So we're gonna do this injury game again. We're going to play this game again in this season. I'm frustrated, folks. I am. Not surprised, but I'm frustrated. It's aggravating. Shout out to Venom. A rough shooting start for CeCe today. Everyone's saying CeCe knocking off Russ or getting her lungs like she didn't just win a FIBA MVP off an injury. Steph White broke her. Call a spade a spade. Great line. Calling a spade a spade. Love that line. Now, I don't know if I'll go as far as Stephanie White broke her. But something's going on. Whether it's confidence or something. Something's going on. And we need to figure this out. The Indiana Fever need to figure this out. Shout out to everybody in the venue. They're saying it looked like Caitlin Clark didn't even have fun playing today. It didn't even look like she was excited to play. It looked like she was subdued, sluggish at times.
And suddenly the entire mood online changed instantly. Now fans weren't just frustrated. Now they got protective because Caitlin Clark already carries insane pressure every single night. That's why fans hated seeing her look physically and emotionally uncomfortable in the first major game of the season. And honestly, here's where things got real awkward for Stephanie White. Fans started feeling like the Fever offense still doesn't know whether it wants to be Kelsey Mitchell isolation basketball or Caitlin Clark chaos basketball. And those are two completely different identities. One slows the game down. The other creates nonstop pressure and movement. Right now, Indiana still looks stuck somewhere in the middle. And honestly, I think that's why Clark looked frustrated at times. Because when Caitlin Clark is at her best, she plays FREE. Fast, creative, aggressive, unpredictable. But last night, she looked careful. And trust me, Fever fans noticed that immediately. People started posting. She doesn't even look happy. This offense feels random. Why does Clark feel disconnected? And honestly, that last point became the biggest storyline online. Because fans expected Stephanie White to fully unlock this roster after the offseason moves. Instead, humiliating backfire, WNBA still. Indiana still look at old Mike left all till Olnamart real time. And once Dallas started moving the ball better, defending harder, and looking more organized, the criticism towards Stephanie White became brutal. Because fans expected defense to become this team's identity. Instead, Dallas dropped 107 points. And honestly, that's why this game created so much emotional panic online. Not because Indiana lost, because fans expected the Fever to finally feel dangerous this season. Instead, for long stretches, they looked confused. And honestly, I'll say this too. I don't think Stephanie White is a terrible coach. But I do think the Fever still haven't figured out how to fully weaponize Caitlin Clark naturally. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to control the chaos instead of unleashing it.
We're not playing her game. We're not playing anybody's. We're playing Kelsey Mitchell's game. I mean, this is the Kelsey Mitchell system, I suppose. It's the Stephanie White system. It's not Kelsey Mitchell's fault that Stephanie White wants to craft this offense around. It's not her fault. Can't blame her. The 2 3-pointers that Caitlin Clark made, all catch and shoot. All catch and shoot. The 7 that she missed, trying to make something happen herself. Again, because the offense isn't predicated on getting Caitlin Clark off ball and then trying to free her up for a shot. If Caitlin Clark's not trying to create on her own, Stephanie White doesn't know what to do with her on the offensive end.
And that changes everything. Because Clark's greatness comes from pressure, speed, emotion, chaos. That's what makes defenses panic. But against Dallas, that version of Clark disappeared for long stretches. And honestly, if Fever fans continue feeling like Clark looks emotionally disconnected inside this system, the pressure around Stephanie White is going to become massive very quickly. Because fans are no longer just watching wins and losses anymore. They're watching Caitlin Clark herself. Her body language, her confidence, her energy. And if that starts fading, the reactions online are going to get even louder. So now I seriously want to know what you think. Did Caitlin Clark genuinely look uncomfortable and disconnected during this game? Or are Fever fans completely overreacting after one opener? And honestly, should Indiana fully commit to Caitlin Clark basketball instead of trying to balance everything equally? Comment below and let me know. And if you love Caitlin Clark drama, Fever controversy, Sophie Cunningham moments, Lexi Hull energy, WNBA chaos, and all the emotional basketball stories exploding online right now, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Because this Indiana Fever season already feels like absolute chaos.